Alright, so the plan today is to go over the fuselage and do a little bit of finish up work on it. This is where the rudder push rod's going to exit, and we need to sand that down flush. Another thing we need to do is to put in the servo tray, which goes about right there according to the plans. A little tweaking we need to do with that. Once we get that, once we get that done and a couple other things, we can start kind of finish this thing up and get ready for covering. Now, the battery that powers the whole thing is going to ride right here. So there'll be a strip of Velcro to hold the battery in place, but there's also going to be a Velcro strap that we can wrap around the battery to hold it down. Otherwise, in flight, pulling high G loads, battery could pop loose, pop around, disconnect, and then God knows what happens after that. Because the battery that runs the motor powers the receiver, it runs the whole 9 yards. Now, one thing we did notice is apparently building the fuselage, some people got ahead of themselves, and what we've got now is needs to be cut out to get to the battery. Well, so this is going to be held in place with 3 screws, but we've got a bit of a gap here that I want to close up, and also this doesn't match up to the fuselage very well. So one of the things we're going to work on today is we're going to actually cut this piece off and refit it so it's nice and flush, and we get rid of this gap. So that's probably the biggest thing today. Is we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll put in the servo tray, and if we can find a sanding block or something to sand this flush with, we'll go ahead and sand that flush. That's the plan for today. Alright, so the work we did today was this front hatch. We did some cleanup on the front hatch, and fits a little better now. It wasn't bad, just needed a little work. So that's in there. We put in the servo tray, and one of the things we found was some of the joints were loose, so we cleaned those up. We've cleaned this up back here, and this was loose, so we tack glued that back in place. That's pretty much it. So now, to get an idea of how big the tail is on this thing, that's about what the tail will look like when we get it covered and put it on. And get a better idea of size, that's what it'll look like with the wing on. So next time we're going to go over the glue joints in the fuselage, and we're going to start sanding the fuselage and preparing it for covering. And next step will be after that will be to start covering. We'll probably start with covering the tail surfaces, and then the wing, and lastly the fuselage. And after that, we get to install the radio and the motor and all the fun stuff, and then after that we get it set up to fly it. So we're getting there.